Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going to be covering the Cotswolds' latest release. Now this thing is the Peated Cask. Now if anyone follows the channel in any stretch will know I'm a big fan of the Cotswolds, so much so that this was a no-brainer for me. I've known about this for a couple of years now, and I've been coveting it ever since. And if you know me, you'll know that I will rarely spend over £50 unless I know that I'm going to like it. Now, I had tried a previous iteration of this. As I said, I thought they were going to release this last October 2018. They released this in October-ish 2019. I've had this since then, and I've been kind of enjoying it since then. I've been trying to get through it a little bit to give a better representative review on it. But at £65 in the UK, I jumped at the chance to get it. I think I paid a little bit more with postage because I didn't have the time to go to the distillery this time, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm a bit of a fanboy of the Cotswolds. They, so far, can do no wrong in my eyes. And if they do wrong, I will be honest about it. But I don't really see that happening, to be honest with you. They've got a really good sense of making whiskey there and making young whiskey not young anymore. This is a 3-year-old whiskey, natural coloured, non-chill filtered. Now this is a bit of a break from their normal kind of vibe. They do this thing called the STR cask, which is a shaved, toasted and recharred cask. It's a bit of a legacy from Dr. Jim Swan. Now these are not aged in those casks or the red wine casks that we sometimes see. This is ex-Scotch quarter casks. So read into that what you will. I personally think that this must be Lafroy quarter casks. I don't know many people that are making peated quarter cask stuff. Could be wrong. Don't know that for a fact. So this is full-term aged maturation in quarter casks, which is why we can get a bit of a better vibe from it. Something we don't know, and they do put a lot of information on their website. So if you want to go and check out more about their processes, more about the specific bottles to find out what yeast types there is, how long it was fermented for, how long it was distilled for, what ABV they pull out and put into the casks. For instance, this was around about 65% when it was put into the cask, and now it's 59.3. Really good number. But one of the things they don't say on the website is exactly how many years this has been maturing for. Now, I'll wager that at a bare minimum this will be 3 years, for sure. But as I said earlier, now I knew this was coming out as of maybe October last year. We thought that's when we were going to get it, and they've held back on it another year, I guess, to try and get some extra juices going, a bit of extra flavour in there. But that means there could be some 4 or 5 years stuff in here for all we know. Not too bothered about that. Really, you know me, it's all about the flavour versus the cost and the value and all that gubbins put together. So enough wittering on about this actual bottle and the process and all that. Let's get into the whiskey itself, shall we? Now, the first thing you'll know on the nose when you get it is that it's really quite an understated nose. Very light, not particularly getting much peat on there. It's kind of sweet, vanilla-y notes, but it's quite tame, really. If you didn't know things like that this was aged in peated barrels or that it was nearly 60% ABV, I don't think you would guess that from the nose. Let's get on to the palate. Now for me, this is where the magic happens. It's, in comparison to the nose, you know, sometimes you get a nose that greatly reflects the flavour. Something like 70% of our taste comes from what we've already previously smelled, allegedly, depending on your particular olfactory system. But in this case, it's almost like disguising itself under the nose. It's giving you this illusion of a really tame, nice whiskey, and it is, but it's got this huge, bold flavour on it. Now, again, the ABV doesn't really scream at you, which is something that I was really impressed at. It's very well rounded. There's definitely ABV tingle there. If you're going to go straight into this one, it's going to be a bit of a shocker. But it's lightly peated. There is a touch of kind of smoke on the back end. Nothing too heavy. This isn't going to put you off if you're not a fan of the peat. Definitely worth trying it, especially if you get down to the distillery, because they'll let you try this thing without having to pay for it. But on top of that peat, you're getting some fruity notes, some more woody notes to it. Like I said, big and bold flavours. The finish, not long, but it's like kind of medium-y, longish. I'm still feeling it now after that last sip, so you can do a timestamp on that if you want. And it's, like I said earlier, a little bit smoky on the back end. Nothing too heavy. It's not like a kind of char. It's not a burn. It's not like a kind of ashiness. It's just a very light waft of smoke and some more fruity elements coming through. Now for me, I am super happy at having spent £65 on this, because it's going to be one of those whiskies that isn't one of my go-tos every day. It's going to go in the kind of more special cabinet I've got downstairs, where I tend to touch that at weekends and when I've got special people over, and good friends, whiskey friends, whatever. I've got another cabinet downstairs as well, which is my kind of ready drinking cabinet, and that's where things like my day-to-day drinking, if I fancy a dram of an evening in the week, and if I've got people over who just want to try some whiskey, they're not really kind of huge fans, I'll start them there before I move them onto the kind of more expensive stuff, let's say. This is going to go there to be enjoyed with good whiskey friends and for special occasions and things like that. But really, I guess at £65, it's not the end of the earth. It's a lot of money for a lot of people, for sure, and it will put a lot of people off. But I assure you, it's well worth it. If you're interested in any of the words like peated cask or quarter cask, stuff like that, you know, you're gonna find some enjoyment in this. So I would say definitely worth checking out. Try sample if you can. You know, these guys are at festivals all over the world now. They're really pushing hard in America. They've been to Taiwan and stuff recently. I'm not sure about anywhere else. But if you do get a chance to go and check them out, do check them out, because these are one of my favourite distilleries at the moment. And I basically just throw money at them every time that they get something new. You know, they're my closest distillery for sure, and I do have a good relationship with them, but I don't ask them for anything. They don't give me anything for free. I just buy their stuff because I'm a big fan. You can't say fairer than that, really.